Dearly redheaded, we are choosing consciousness today to get through this thing called grief. Interesting word, grief. It means love, which makes for a mighty good joke. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing else. Just joy. And if the big picture tends to bring you down, go crazy once your life goes. Woo!
All right, Jersey.
Yes.
This is going to be the ego portion of my podcast with you.
Got it.
When we met, had I been diagnosed as autistic? I had been. Correct?
When we met, you had just gotten the beagle.
Okay.
So you tell me.
Yeah, I got the diagnosis when I was 39, and the beagle's 14, so 42.
So,
I had yes. So, knowing that I think I shared with you yesterday that I've done a lot of work. I feel fortunate that I got the autism diagnosis before I got the C-PTSD diagnosis. I'm going to share some notes with you for the first time live, whereas normally I'd be sharing in our private conversations. I'm very excited to share something with you.
Okay, awesome.
And I'm now coming full circle, not working with, but knowing about somebody had the opposite experience. They were diagnosed first with C-PTSD and then with autism, and their journey was difficult because I would think that would make it more difficult. I'm now returning to being neurologically different in my approach to what I'm currently dealing with. The self-sabotage, the things that I'm doing in starting this podcast and using my voice, and the shame and all this.
So proud.
And just giving myself grace because it is only the second year without my partner in crime, my mom, and just, the stuff. So, that being said, how did that beeping approach? Oh, we lost you? So anyway, what I wanted to say was, how do you know, or how do you observe me being autistic? How do you experience it?
Well, you're like a Rain Man in some aspects.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Rain Woman.
Rain Woman. And you're like a 6-year-old in other aspects, where you just can't connect the dots. You just can't. You miss the obvious. And, and I've told you before, like if I had a nickel for every time I had to like point stuff out to you, like in our relationship, like I would be in a condo on a beach somewhere, like, because, for me to witness your fucking brilliance and your, connectivity to the world and to, everything that, you've experienced and I've experienced and we've experienced. And then you can't pick up on a cue. You can't
walk and chew gum.
Yeah. And it just was a delight. It was just fantastic.
What'd you say? It wasn't the light?
It was a delight.
Oh, delight. Okay.
And it was like fantastic that there could be such a like dichotomy. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Like, the big words, I don't. But it was just like, to see you like, cracking fucking code and then, not knowing what the fucking person behind the counter at the grocery store was trying to convey to you was just magic. It was just gold. But that's your beauty. Like, that's your gift. That's your, you know, that's what you bring to the world, and you know, your power is greater than your weakness, but your weakness gives you your power
Yeah.
because you're so childlike in some, not childlike, like in some aspects that it just heightens the ability for you to you know, see things in such a higher capacity than others, than, and to connect dots and, the way you helped me, like, when I would go through like a difficult situation, I just froze. I could not think. I just froze. And you would talk me through it and you would tell me what's really happening. And this is what's happening. And, that kind of thing. And like, I will forever be grateful to you for that because I did not have that capacity where you did. But I could tell you things, like what the plumber really meant and what you need to do when this happens to your plumbing or when this happens to your car or, like I could provide you with like the simple things in life and you were able to give me like the hard parts. You were able to, help me through like the hardest part of my entire life, but
Right.
you
Right back.
questioned, the simple things.
Yeah, and I don't think I think, and again, please disagree or agree with me. I think my mother was on the spectrum, so I had this built-in buddy. We got one another in ways that we didn't give a shit about what the
Oh,
rest
you
of.
were two peas in a pod for sure, for schism. Yes. Yes. Yep.
Whew. I was thinking of things because you make me you don't make you can see why I was abused. You can see why I was a candidate with my siblings and my ex. You can see that. I mean, it's obvious to me now, but it how I worked so hard, and that's why I can't wait to share with you what this other autistic's perspective is on this stuff, and I'll get there, but not yet. But I was, because of the way you see me, I was able to then say, I know that I am in my heart and soul autistic, but I have had to, because of the gifted parts, it has made for it to be questioned in ways that are just so grossly unfair that I don't want to go to now. But I was like, well, when people ask you, how do you know you're autistic? I wanted to come up with some comedic answers.
Uh-oh.
So one of the things I came up with was
Let me have it.
I'm trying. I'm trying to go from crying to laughing. But I fell in love with the book The Next Place very soon after having my boys. And The Next Place was a book about explaining death to anybody, but mainly for children. It was a children's book by Warren somebody. I can't remember his last name. It was probably a poem adapted to a children's book that talks about the next place that we go. What happens to our body, da-da-da-da-da-da. So I fall in love with this book, and Jersey, I probably bought 10 copies and gave it to everybody with a new baby. Here they
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. How's that?
Okie dokie.
How's that?
That's high up there on the list.
Yeah. So I think I caught it, and
After the third baby.
like 25 minutes ago, and then I was thinking, like, and this is just personally, in recent months, I've noticed I tinkle more. and I don't know what's going on. I'll drive for an hour, I'll get somewhere, and I'll have to tinkle. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Is this incontinence? Like, am I fucking 56? What the fuck's going on with me? All of a sudden, I realize, you know what I've been drinking a lot of? Herbal tea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's full of hibiscus, which is a diuretic.
Good Lord.
So I don't think about it. I just don't think about those things. And I one of the grosser but funny things that you and I discussed was when I had my incident, my vibrator was missing. Do you remember this?
Oh, yes.
And you, all right, Brian's laughing. I can never tell Brian. I have to stop looking at him because I don't know what the fuck he finds funny because it's hard for me. But so you said to me that there was a roommate involved that was very unkind to me. And you said to me that you knew the roommate had the vibrator. And I said, not only does he have it and he's sniffing it, but it's 4 inches up his ass. So that's
the old jackrabbit.
I remember too, just as an aside, you being down in Florida and it being hurricane season. You wanted your phone charged, even though you could go to a generator. You guys now have a generator. At the time, you didn't. I remember sending you a picture of my vibrator plugged in.
Yes.
Versus my phone, like pick a side, you know. So we have fun. We have fun. Yeah. So you and I spent time talking about different dimensions. We talk about synchronicities. We've able to, have.
Right. And I've experienced these things from a very, very young age. Like I told you, like 18, 19, and you were like, what? Like when it finally came into your realm, I'm like, oh yeah, that happens to me. Oh yeah.
See,
This happens to me and that happens to me. But we never shared it because it wasn't something that I, never really talked about. I just experienced things that I just have experienced for a very, very long time. And I just, it's hard to talk to people about stuff like that sometimes.
I feel like I was born with it, especially the claircognizance, but I was derailed from it. And in coming back to it, we had the commonalities. And we're very different women. And I don't know if we weren't trauma bonded. I don't know. Obviously, we were meant to be in one another's lives because of what we've experienced, but we're very different people. And very often you want my advice and you don't have to take it, and vice versa. I want your advice because I want to know neurotypical perspective. But that may or may not. Why are you laughing? Are you thinking of something, or are you just laughing because you know that's the way it is?
That's our yin and yang. That's what it is. That's I'm glad to be that for you.
Well, I'm obtuse. My mother was obtuse. Thick, as she would probably prefer. Also, I know one thing that you had mentioned to me, which I didn't know. After my spiritual awakening in 22, a lot of things happened. One of the things was whenever I used THC, I'd have a psychedelic experience. And you told me, is it okay if I talk about this?
Yeah. Yes.
And you told me that before you've been in Florida 3 years, so before my spiritual awakening, before you moved, you said getting high with me was, go ahead and describe it.
It was horrible. Because you went to like a different planet and I just wanted to like sink into the earth. Like I just wanted to be like a giant effing exhale. And you were spinning like a top, like physically and mentally. And I was always just like that was my calm.
Yeah.
Like that was I was like, yeah, like a Cheech and Chong stoner. And
Yeah.
you just went fucking out into fucking space. And it was just fucking, like what you were harshing my mellow, I think the kids say. That's how the kids say it.
Yeah.
Um, and it was something.
I,
Yep.
I, in all likelihood, was going to a psychedelic place before the spiritual awakening, but the spiritual awakening was my wake up call to not do it.
Right.
Which, which was very, very interesting. And you know that I sedated with THC
There you go.
through losing my mom.
Yep.
And that's definitely a story for another time. But that
Mm-hmm.
subsequent, yeah, that's a long story. Yeah, I don't miss it, and I didn't do it when I was young that much. When I was young, it would depress me, and then, but I can remember, and I think you've never done cocaine. I can remember doing cocaine and
I didn't like it. I did it, but I
oh,
didn't like it. I didn't like that
I li-
highness. Like,
I can think of it right now going down the back of my throat, and it's probably been yeah, it's probably been 40 years.
right. But, like I had shared with you previous that, in my teen years, say, you know, 16, 17, 18, I was doing, you know, blotter acid, purple microdot, mescaline, mushrooms, snorting
I thought you
THC.
didn't like
Uh,
mushrooms.
well, the mushrooms were a great freaking high. I mean, you were like freaking on Mars, but I mean, you had to put it the way we did it was they were dried mushrooms in a baggie, and you put it between your cheek and your gum, almost like like what's the shit the kids use now? Like chewing tobacco. And, like you just I can't even describe the sensation that you would get. But, and then once they were like goo and soft, then you would like chew them and swallow them. But at that point, couldn't even make yourself swallow. You were so buzzed. But I had many, many, many like out of body experiences and many, many nights going home to my parents' house and laying in bed and praying to God, like, please just let me wake up in the morning. Like, but
I
you
I
know, gr- great experiences on drugs, but horrible experiences on drugs. But I always woke up.
I
There's
re-
always somebody there tapping me on the shoulder, figuratively saying, "You're not done yet.
did I ever
You
tell
got
you?
more to do."
I didn't mean to cut you off. I just thought of something. Did I ever tell you about smoking hash my first year in college, and I was caught under a pair of the largest testicles I've ever experienced?
Oh dear God, no.
Never. Yeah, I don't remember why I was under the testicles. They were real, but I can remember. I don't remember what happened. I just remember the feeling of not being able to get out from under. I should
This not being able to breathe.
I wrote a joke and I've written hundreds of thousands of jokes from the perspective of like you can't see me, but my hands over my face,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to find the light between the split between the two, and it was all based on doing hash once.
Oh my
Never
God.
never did it again, and that also is where the story my first year in college. Um, my sons are Dick Lick and Cocksuck, and you know who's who, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
All right, so Dick Lick, when he was young and was a budding athlete, he used to make fun of me because I didn't follow athletics and I was always the one who told him to keep his left side strong and la 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 because I'm a lefty and all that shit. But anyway, I told him the story about where I took on a drug dealer with another woman for an 8-ball of cocaine, pickup game of basketball. Ever tell you this?
I think so, yeah.
And, she and I beat him and, split an 8-ball. Dick lick, tells him that was like my claim to fame, athletic story where I, scored an 8-ball. I'm like, so don't tell me I can't shoot, asshole.
Right.
But anyway.
Right.
So anyway, okay, this is what I wanted to share with you. I had found this gentleman years ago, and when I say years, a handful, and I people resonate with me, and then I move on, and also what you can't see, but can you show this? Where should I hang this? Right there? Right there. All right, this is a picture of a monkey. You may remember it was in my kitchen. It says, "Nobody understands me." My father gave me this. So he died when I was 12. This was his gift to me because I struggled so much as a child thinking I was misunderstood, which of course was true, or people committed to misunderstanding me, if you know what I mean.
All
right.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. So this guy's name is Nate Postlethwait. He was diagnosed with C-PTSD in 2009, and then his psychologist or therapist woke him up to being autistic by 2024. So it's a fairly new diagnosis for him. He's a seeker. He's somebody that has a beautiful story to tell, does beautiful work. At the end of the month, and this probably won't be launched before it happens, but it will be on, you can find it, and he's doing a seminar at the end of the month live on people, the growth beyond C-PTSD. It's addressing all the stuff that I need a little review of, self-sabotage and growing after having it, yada, yada, yada. So this is... I'm reading to you something he wrote, an update from 2024. He's talking about liking his therapist. He's one of the best I've had. He observes me a lot. Sometimes I can feel when he is doing it. I plead with him to believe me when I tell him how confused I am about something and not to try to convince me I am doing better than I think I am, which is you in my life. Does that resonate?
Yes.
One of the most recent breakthroughs I had was when I said, I am a complex and very intense person. This was my reply to him complimenting me about how hard I try to make the external world I live near not feel so overwhelming. His therapist capped it off with, I can't think of two better qualities for a relationship. Both show willingness to work hard and be honest. When we first started working together, he held a secret from me. I did not know to ask. I would have never known that he was preparing me for a deeper discussion later. It went on for 10 weeks. He never said a word, but I knew with certainty there was something he needed to tell me, and he knew we needed time to build a foundation so the news would not hit me in the way understanding of past trauma has. And again, he's learning he's autistic post C-PTSD. I was the reverse.
Correct.
Okay. I'm building up. I'm trying to build up. Because there's something in here that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm wondering if it is going to hit you like a ton of bricks, maybe just for me. I rambled on about how I was certain I was autistic, but when I brought it up to my psychiatrist years ago, she abruptly told me I wasn't. She explained that I was highly sensitive, and because the trauma went on for so long, I'm just living unregulated with C-PTSD. And he had a large autistic following before he learned it about himself. I actually remember, thinking he was autistic before his diagnosis. And then he said, always the last to know, the last to figure it out. Those are tied to stories I have lived out, stories where I felt naive and excluded about how obvious some of the abuse was, and I never flinched or paused. I just kept going. Autism? Me? I asked him why he thought that. He said almost everything I talk about is wanting to be left alone, to block the world's noise out. We went back and forth, and the more he talked, the more I began to understand this is not something he just thought of that day. This is something he needed time to help prepare me for. He did the right thing. I got pretty emotional. I felt scared and kind of embarrassed that this was a possibility, and I had gone 46 years not knowing. He's trying to consider this being good news, being autistic, but the alarm is too intense. The alarm reminds me how many times I've tried to communicate who I am and others saw someone different and treated me based on their perception rather than who I was asking them to see, the story of my life. He holds me well with his words, reminding me of the gifts I have and how this missing link may be the key to much hardship in my life. Hidden in plain sight, he said. Again, the story of my life. Again, that reminds me of you. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
You're used to this. He did a bunch of online evaluations that he was guided to. As he was filling them out, he felt seen. The questions all had blatantly obvious answers, and I thought, see, I'm not autistic. I am crushing this test. It's okay if you laughed at that. I did. So, this is another friend describing him, someone who works really hard to make sure others feel comfortable, but it seems like it is a learned trait that doesn't come natural to you, almost like you were observing others on what to do, then putting it into action. That not all of this is hook, line, sinker with me. It's meant to help others. I'm shocked she just described autism. Also, I thought everyone did this. And that's another thing for me is I too, as a child, thought everyone did what I did, especially the visual aspects and the clear cognizy. I'm not sure how I thought of how my friends saw me. I know how to make them laugh, and I know they know I'm readily available to help them navigate hardship. I think I can relate to that. But it makes me sad about this possibility. I am sad because I've spent most of my life feeling out of place, misunderstood, confused, and always wide open for someone to nudge me in the right direction, to get whatever help that could bring relief. I've been desperate not to feel like a problem everywhere I go, not so out of place. And I think that, to me, I was not uncomfortable. It was others that made me uncomfortable with being that way, and that's why autistics are candidates for abuse. He asks the therapist, did you know the whole time? The therapist said he had strong suspicions. I forgot the guy's name already. I need a left brain. Nate said, so how did you know? So much of your life is about trying to keep confusion away because of how hard you work to understand things. It's like you're always asking for ways to make yourself understood and retreating because of how costly that feels. He talks.
Boom.
Yeah. It's coming. I'm leading up to it. It's like
I can't wait.
Normally with me, it's like there is no lube. This is my lube. I'm trying to lube it. Back to compassion. I've lived many of my stories as a child, and I'm able to add much context to why he felt so out of place and confused. That's him talking to his inner child, but damn what he gave to others trying to belong. And in my case, I thought I was one of the group. I didn't realize how different I was. I wasn't trying to belong. I thought I did. Clarity, the books, non-step memoirs, diagnosis manuals, blogs. I'm seeing people explain my experience over and over, learning about cognitive rigidity and rejection sensitivity. Dysphoria has been a game changer. I haven't looked into that one yet. Things have names. It's been a roller coaster. One of the hardest parts has been coming to terms with understanding that things that have gone on in my head do not go on in everyone else's. He's explaining the moment it clicked, the sadness and clarity that, this is a big deal. Let me back up and not try to rush this. He's talking about having an assistant and sitting at his desk, explaining something to them in an email. And he said at that moment it clicked, the sadness and clarity that she's not confused like me. She does not need these particular details because she understands without them. Many others are not confused like me. They don't need the extra instructions. Yeah, I could live without email. I have 46 years invested in one way of living that I thought we all related to. I thought we all had these very special things that we did all the time, as in all day, every single day. I didn't know, and that still breaks me a bit. And that breaks me a bit too, because I know with cocksuck, let me make an analogy. It was explained to me that people thought it was an act. And I realize in my case, people did too. Like, you can't figure out who's doing the manipulating, who's the narcissist. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So this is the big one. The big one. I have completely lost interest in mirroring a life that I thought would make sense to others and allow myself to be honest about the life that respects my truth. I love helping people. While autists often have had a hard time with cognitive empathy, understanding what you are thinking, we often have a high emotional empathy, understanding what you are feeling. And that's the aha moment. Like, I thought I had, until this morning reading this, or yesterday, whenever the fuck I read it, I thought my levels of cognitive empathy were very high. Do you see the irony in that?
Mm-hmm.
But
yes, I do.
wow. But the thing that I think I see is the unconscious. So it's actually conscious cognitive empathy that I lack. But my ability to know what's going on underneath that most people never face is extraordinary.
You see that immediately.
Yeah.
Like, immediately. Like, I would come to you with an issue or an experience that I had, and you're like, okay, take a breath. Let me tell you what's happening. And you would explain it. And it would be like, holy effing shit. Like, yeah, that's it.
I called this a public masturbation moment. We should all publicly masturbate. I think that's huge. For me.
Yes.
Because it's like, what do you mean I lack cognitive empathy? What do you mean? What do you mean? I'll prove you wrong.
Right.
I'll prove you fucking wrong. And I'm like, oh, well, you have an agenda. Well,
right.
Now I'm fucked.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can't follow that.
No. And I still, we're called gullible. And I've said it before. It's not that I'm gullible. I just don't expect you to lie.
Right. And
you have set me straight on a number of things. And I don't think I think empaths, and that's an overused word, but it's the word I'm going to use. I think you don't have to be autistic to be an empath, but an autistic empath, it's just the layers of humor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I feel physical pain. I'm just going to finish this up because it's so good. Oh, actually, are you sick of hearing it yet?
No, but I got to feed an old man in about 10 minutes.
All right.
Sorry to say.
No, I got it. Let me just take a second.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
Yeah, he's fast.
Nate Postlethwait?
Yeah, he's Postlethwait.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. He's he lives in works from Chicago. He did a little snippet or a reel. Spends 95% of his time alone. He did a reel this morning. I could tell he was on Lake Michigan. It was beautiful.
All right, carry on.
All right, I'm going to skip, but end, because it's just so valuable. I have a terrible fear of making mistakes, of participating in something with my guard down and finding out I was doing it wrong while everyone else understood. Again, that wasn't me. My confidence levels were odd. I think you know they are. It has never been the embarrassment that scares me, but the little boy inside of me who grew up with an abusive father who seemed to take pleasure in making him feel small. I just competed with my abusers. I mean, if we were going to have an asshole contest, I would win. I stayed too long, made too many. So I'm trying to make this, and I don't think it's tied to gender. I had enough early on, and my parents were so supportive of me that I did have some good shit going on. Mistakes have been costly to me, so I've lived with a rigid mind that did not allow them, that has limited what I have been open to do, and with a growing platform that has come with a lot of pressure. I am opening myself to new things. I feel like I have new information that tells me how to cope. And that's what's drawn me now back to him, because I think I need another dose of somebody on the spectrum who can talk about C-PTSD. Because most of the resources
in your language.
Yeah, because most of the resources I have, it doesn't come up, and I've often been like, how can you talk about Buddhism and not talk about autism? But then my rationalization, and it's not a rationalization to me, but that woman I discovered, Gabby Kovalenko, she just speaks from the sixth dimension and cognizance, but she doesn't strike me as autistic. And I'm wondering if we're just evolving towards that place that autism's been a facilitator. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And ADHD.
Right. Because we're the ones with the power.
Well,
undeniable power. We've just been stepped on and not shown how to use the power. We've been told the power is a deficit, and it's not.
Right.
It's a superpower. And, for forever, years and years and years, it's like drug it, kill it, stop it, stomp on it, end it. And it's like, no, that's not what you do. You people need to step up to my level. F you. You don't fucking get it.
And that's why we call you Jersey.
There it is.
I'm going to have a full circle moment back to, it's hard for me. It's very hard for me to use my left hemisphere, and I'm very right dependent, but he says, thank you for the constant support of my work, for allowing me to express angst in a way that heals me over and over, while also validating that I don't have to tell the hardest parts of my story to be heard. And that's where I'm like, I am going to tell some of the hardest parts of my story. Not all of it, but some of the hardest parts, because I got to get the poison out of me. And that then brings me back to my thought, and doing this with you, coming here this morning, that there's a fine line between taking it to the grave and screaming it from the rafters.
Oh, absolutely.
How'd you like that?
Absolutely.
How'd you like that full circle moment?
That was good. You did it.
I did it.
We did it.
I did it. We did do it. And I hope that I always hope it. I hope it translates, and I hope it resonates. And I can't thank you enough. I am grateful to be on this journey. Can I get you to say fuck, cock, cunt, just so I feel connected to you?
Yeah. That I made that as a password for you?
You impersonated me, and you didn't use fuck, cock, cunt. You had dick in there.
Fuck, dick, cunt was the password.
Yeah, and that threw me off.
And you questioned it.
Because I wouldn't remember it. I wouldn't remember it. It's too different.
Yeah. You were like, why is dick in there? I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, woman, it's a fucking password. Jesus Christ, just go with it.
Well, I made my password dick lick, and every time fucking Spectrum came to my office to help me with the internet, and they asked me what my password was, I had to say dick lick. I didn't have to, but it was, And I would just be dry through. I wouldn't like give it any energy, and it would be like very funny because that was my fucking password.
Yeah, there you have it.
Any
Bang zoom.
funny story for the road?
Oh, there's too many. Save that for another episode.
I would.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening and supporting Natural Born Redhead. If you follow the bouncing balls, please like and subscribe. If you know someone interested in sparing others grief and inciting joy, message me on Facebook or reach out via my website, Natural Born Redhead. J-Ma.